10, 9, ignition sequence start, 6.
Hello and welcome to Rocket Fuel, your daily update of everything that's happening in the Rocket Pool community. My name is Wack. Today is October 26th and yesterday was one of those days in the Rocket Pool community that people are going to remember for a really long time. It was really good fun. So it kind of started here with me putting a message in trading saying I'm getting word that a bunch of the RPL sell side liquidity is being removed from Uniswap, and there's been talk of a short squeeze, and I was like, hey, if the time to squeeze shorts is very near, and then the kind of discussion started about what's going on and where things are going to happen. Schifrin said that the SEC would like to have a word with me for manipulating the market, so sorry about that. Carnage then posted a message from Marceau from a few days ago saying that he's stuck behind a gas spike and that El Presidente stuff, I think it was El Presidente stuff, was feeling kind of pumpy and dumpy and he didn't want to get Genslered, and that he would pull it in a day or two, but not as part of any coordinated thing. And he says he'd love to get the price to a point where the majority of node operators are eligible for rewards. And he says we're stuck in this crabby cycle of lots of folks being under collateralized, and I'll support getting out of that hole however I can. So that was kind of what Marcy was saying. And then there was like a link to the pool that you could have a look at to see like what liquidity was there and what liquidity wasn't there. Anyway, this is what the liquidity wall looked like. So between around 0.012 and about 0.0165, I want to say somewhere around there was a big chunk of liquidity that was just kind of hanging out, and then a little while later, and Jasper was saying that the short interest rates were going down, so a bunch of the shorts either closed their shorts or got liquidated. On the pump a couple of days ago, it went from like 200% interest down to about 75% interest, and then we there's a whole lot to get through. So and then Mad Matt here shared an image of the Uniswap pool and saying that there was a removal of liquidity. Around 40,000 RPL was removed and 175 ETH as well. So then basically the image changed completely, where there was still some buy side liquidity left, but a whole lot of sell side liquidity was removed all the way through 0.013 all the way up to like 0.021 or something around that mark. So there was a thin liquidity. But then nothing kind of happened for a while. Like as you can see from the buy and sell bot, there was a lot more sell side liquidity available now, and then the buy side liquidity was just kind of like linear, and you didn't need as much ETH anymore to cause big slippages in price. So people saying like, is now the time to do a buy party? But no one was quite buying, even though the liquidity had been removed. Like there weren't any buys like really coming in, and then I just showed that as well. And then the first big buy was from Ethereal Capital, who bought about 3,000 RPL, and that was the first jump up in the ratio really that happened after the liquidity was removed. And I think then people like, we're in a thin liquidity zone, and then another buy came in from Ethereal Capital as well, which was adding sell side support. So at 0.013 on CowSwap, a limited order of 100 ETH was placed for around 7,700 RPL. So then if the price went down, then that big buy would basically push up the price again. And yeah, that was actually in support. So then a bunch of people started kind of like buying in. I bought, I said Marcy's getting the party started, and the wall obviously was like gone. We were like now in the low liquidity zone, and I said he's supporting the price in the downside, and the short interest has gone down, so there's not as much short interest as there was a few days ago, but there still is some shorting going on. And then that's when like the the ratio like really started to move. So then we saw this other buy coming in for 7,170 RPL, and that got filled, and then there was some like arbing and stuff going on as well, and like the price really Halululo joked saying that I, instead of selling 2 ETH to buy RPL, I instead sold 200 ETH because of this person. But that was a really nice buy that came in, and then Dondo said it would wax sell another house or something like that. No, I don't. I wish I had other houses to sell. But yeah, then the price really started moving. I think there was a whole lot of buying kind of getting compounded. So I said I did my part. They shared my transaction as well, and then other people like kind of started sharing their buying as well. Jasper realized that the liquidity is actually really low, and like on Coinbase or Binance, so the price can move really quickly once that happens. And then we slowly started like ticking up, and people were getting like really happy and really euphoric. It was like quite busy in trading. A lot of people were talking. They were like sharing ideas back and forth about what was going on, whether this liquidation is going to happen, whether people are going to buy, like all the different things, kind of like what was going on there. And then Jasper was like hyping it with tweets, and I was hyping it with some tweets as well, but mostly Jasper. And then there was just so much price movement, right? And the price was like slowly edging up. Like here, you know, the ratio was 0.0136, and it like was slowly ticking up for a while. And let me see here, yeah, like 0.0137. And even though, you know, we weren't seeing big buys, there were a lot of small buys happening, but then they were kind of interspersed with like these big buys like this one here for 3,300 ETH. So those are the kind of ones that kind of really shot up the ratio. At the same time, on Twitter, people like Index Corp started tweeting saying that it looks like the RPL token is now in a trend reversal. So they had this like methodology that they're using to show whether a token is in an uptrend, neutral, or downtrend. So as you can see, you know, the RPL token was in a downtrend since since June, basically, according to their charts, all the way to now. But now it's first like moments that it's heading up toward neutral and starting to show signs of like uptrend, basically. So that's a really key piece of information to like keep your eyes on as well, because that's going to be relevant later. But yeah, there was still more buys coming in. Now, you know, we've gone up to 0.014, which is a pretty nice pump already. But the buying wasn't stopping, and you know, that ratio line just kept moving up and up, which was really great. Invis was making jokes, as Invis always does, but on Binance things started going really crazy here. So this was kind of like the peak of the move, and you know, it hit $26 because there's just thin liquidity on Binance. So people were kind of arbing it by selling on Binance, buying on chain, and then kind of doing that over and over again as they could. But the price was moving really fast at this point. And then look, we hit, it was kind of going vertical. The volume was high. As you can see, like the price on start was around $23, I think, and it had already gone up to like $26.20. And this was while ETH and Bitcoin weren't really moving. So it was really having a huge impact. And then, you know, on the ratio, it was still ticking up. So it hit $28 on Binance, and people were just like kind of in disbelief. And here, MadMat shared a screenshot of Binance when it peaked. The RPL price peaked at $28.50, and that was kind of where the move started losing a little bit of steam. And people, of course, were like really happy. But then on mainnet, this is where the price peaked here on the ratio 0.015, which was a very nice move up. So on mainnet, it hit just over $27, and that was really something. So there was a really nice pump there. But then what happened was, you know, if we're looking at the liquidity chart, then not soon later, a new liquidity wall got put up, and let me see if I can find when that happened. I think it was around Yeah, a new liquidity wall got put up. Marceau replied in trading by saying, "Cheers, guys." So that was nice. But the buys were still coming in, and there was still like some selling and buying happening back and forth. But the ratio kind of peaked at 0.015. The price on Binance peaked at $28.50. On mainnet, it was just over $27. And then a little while later, we saw that the RPL token had a price of, it went up by over 15%, which was really great. Here Jasper shared his tweet from last week or the week before about the short squeeze potentially happening, and he says these people literally shorted RPL at the bottom, and look what happened. So it wasn't fun for them. On the 1 hour candle, the RPL price went up 10% in 1 hour, and it's up 35% in 1 week. So it's had a really good week in terms of price recovery. But yeah, as you can see, look, the price kind of just was bleeding down a little bit at that point. So it looked like the price was fizzling out a little bit. The rally was fizzling out, and then what we got then as well was there was some sell side liquidity arrived from Luke says some venture capitalists who are buying in and out of the RPL token. But that was a little while later when that happened, and that kind of then meant, yeah, here look, the ratio still was kind of trending back up again, so it went almost back to 0.015. So the price was still doing really good stuff, but once we got that 16.25% pump at one point, and then once we got the big sell, there was a big sell, and then there were even Val was selling here as well, so at $27.18, I think. So good luck, Val. Here GC had an interesting point. He was saying, I have mixed feelings about this. Didn't you guys promote shorting to hedge RPL exposure? So this was a really interesting point, because there was a lot of talk in the community about how instead of buying the RPL token, you can take a loan against your ETH on Aave or somewhere else, and then you can use the RPL that you get from there to collateralize your loan, and then when you want to repay back your loan, you just exit your validator, repay your loan, and get your ETH back. However, people did make it clear that if the price moves up fast on you, then you'll get liquidated, and like borrowing is always risky, and like I'm sorry that like if people borrowed because of anything that I said, I should have made it more clear that there is a big risk of people getting liquidated if the price moves on them. And if I didn't do that, I'm sorry. I thought that I did do that, but maybe we all could have done that a little bit better. And then Val was agreeing with GC as well, and I said it was always risky if the price moved up. Val said, me too. I don't love hunting generally. There were definitely plenty of suggestions to use Aave to borrow RPL needed for mini pools. Yes. I said, like, we've given fair warning that the price is in a position where you can be short squeezed right now. And then Val said it didn't really help people who had RPL locked on the node. Yeah, like if they wanted to be careful, they would have had to exit the node basically, so to repay their loans. So here is when the liquidity situation changed. So on the buy side, Marceau put up a new wall that was a lot higher than, like a support basically, that was a lot higher than there was there before. But on the sell side, these VCs put up like a big chunk of selling pressure, so it kind of like would stop the price from moving too much. So here we were, and that's kind of where the move fizzled out. So it was a really fun few hours of trading activity, and the price has actually held up really well considering like what happened. So the ratio is at 0.0136. The USD price is at $24.34. So that is pretty good, in all honesty, like compared to where we started with a nice chunk of change above that. So yeah, congrats to everyone for getting above their 10% threshold if they were kind of on the edge of that, of the ratio, because last night was rewards night. So let's have a look at what happened there. Oh wait, we already talked about that. So here was reward night. Of course, you know, it happens at around 1:35 Eastern time in the US, and we got the rewards. Yeah, here it is. So happy rewards day. And then what happens is, like, you have to wait 2 epochs for that to finalize, and then the rewards start to get calculated. So it says the rolling this interval used rolling rewards as well, rolling records. So there was an idea that, you know, it would get done really quickly. So bankless here were first, and then Joe said next one should be happening in a few minutes. So then we got Yorick and Butter. They got in at number 2 and 3. And then Joe said, you know, 4 out of 10, 5 out of 10. And then Sneaky said, why is it funny about Butter's node? And he says that Butter's node is like historically a turtle without rolling records. And he says this might be the first one he submitted with them on, and it makes quite a difference. So then we got this message from Joe saying that within 10 minutes we got our reward snapshot was all finalized and all done, so people could then claim their rewards. So this was really, really awesome to see that, you know, the community, like a big friction point that was there for the community in terms of getting rewards out on rewards night, it looks like been fixed, and it's all clear now. So that's really wonderful to see. Congratulations. Joe said if I had any steam left I'll be celebrating, but I'm just happy to see it work. So this is really wonderful. Congratulations to Joe and everyone else who helped with this tree generation system. And yeah, I'm really, really proud of you all. So if every month there is a predict the order of the ODAO game, so with rolling records it makes it really difficult because it's kind of random almost in a sense, but people kind of sharing their hashes. And then Blue AVM got 0, but we also got Trevor N who got 1.5. so I think, yeah, 1.5 Atomic Whale as well. So it looks like the rewards are now, there's much less strategy and just much more luck involved, but it's pretty cool that it's happening in a much better way than it was. So congratulations once again, Joe. Okay, next we have news of Thomas. So a couple of days ago I talked about how he was distributing awards away from his node, and now it seems like he is setting up a new node, which is what we expected. And here yesterday it was seeded with 20,000 RPL tokens to set up the validator. And then after that we got mini pools started being created. So here there's a mini pool that's been created with operator share of 8 ETH, and there was a whole bunch of them. So Thomas, you know, loves spamming events. And when we go and actually have a look at the node on Rocket Scan, we can see that this node now has 23 validators, and it's got the 20,000 stake, which is over 150% at the moment, and you know, those validators now in pre-launch. So I wouldn't be surprised if Thomas is waiting for a low gas environment again, and then doing that again. So that maybe on the weekend. I'm not sure exactly what Thomas will do, but it's likely that he'll be spinning up potentially hundreds of validators on this node, which is pretty cool. Good job, Thomas. And then the impact of that on the protocol, of course, has been that we are now back in a position where the deposit pool is not full. So there is currently 17,968 ETH in the deposit pool. If people exit, of course, then that will fill up the deposit pool, and then that can go over 18,000. So that means right now we're in a position where we almost are ready to build up a premium again. I don't know how much hope people should have for premiums being built up in the short to medium term, but hey, people can wait if they want. Okay, next we had some news out of the Yearn ecosystem. So for those of you who don't know, Yearn made a new staking token basket called yETH, and this one had a bunch of different staking tokens in there. And what happened is some of the you'd have to pay to kind of bring it to vote, and then the community would vote about adding your token to that basket. So here we had 0x7D54 who actually paid the 1 yETH listing fee to have Rocket Pool's rETH voted on for inclusion in Yearn Fi's yETH next epoch. So why? So the person said yETH is great, AMM trading yields plus bribes gives a strong yield, and for expanded adoption, even more trading yields, we need rETH to be part of yETH, in my opinion. So it's a short thread here, just kind of showing about how what kind of makes up, I think, the yETH token, and what goes into that. And then it says this thread describes how yETH works and why it's good for Yearn and ultimately YFI. That's the token that they have, and thus me, YFI and VYFI and SDYFI holder, and also yETH holder. It says now that the VYFI reward system gets going, yETH yields are likely to increase even more via this mechanism. And then see the quote tweet. But let's supercharge this with inclusion of the most decentralized and second most traded LST rETH. Vote yes. So this was really nice of the person to do of their own volition, and got a lot of support about that and people saying thank you for this. But yeah, this whole process, I don't know exactly how their governance system works, but I guess now it's up to the community to vote on whether or not they want to include rETH into that basket. So I will definitely keep an eye out on that. But as far as I remember, it wasn't something that the community necessarily felt like we needed or wanted to pay for. So the fact that someone else paid for it, I think, it's a matter of, yeah, we'll take it, thank you very much. But yeah, I'm hoping that it helps everyone, but I don't know how it will work just yet. Okay, next we had this message from Long for Wisdom in Governance saying, not to be a broken record, but I'd like to bump the voted operational process RPIP again. That's RPIP 34. And then there's a link to the forum post. It says, we can't really proceed with this if we don't get some of you to provide some feedback. I'm aware this isn't the sexiest proposal, but I do think you all would benefit from structural improvements when it comes to decision making. It says, here's a picture of some text. So let me just give a minute to Long for Wisdom here to kind of just highlight what's going on here. So there is this post that they made saying this is a discussion thread for RPIP 34. We recently created a thread around medium-term incentives could work on Rocket Pool. We could work on for Rocket Pool. One of the higher ranked items was the creation of operational process framework. This is that framework. So it's a summary of what that means, like how the process is, like how this document will all come together in practice. So it says the easy areas where this would work would be certain areas of the PDAO, such as GMC membership selection, GMC admin selection, GMC admin removal, GMC dispute/appeal, IMC membership selection, ODAO membership selection, and ODAO membership change. So then there's some other less obvious fits as well that they might be able to make into a framework. And then they said this is what a framework would look like. So this is a voted operational process definition. So for example, this is for the GMC, and it's an election to fill the membership slots of the GMC, which is currently what we're doing now. And then purpose is to ensure that the PDAO has the opportunity to periodically vote on the GMC membership, and just kind of gives you the information of what it would look like and how it's triggered and all that kind of stuff. So they needed feedback, but people weren't giving much feedback. So, after the message went out yesterday, Regex Buster came in and gave some feedback. But yeah, you can go read that, see what you think, and give some feedback if you have a few minutes of time for that. Okay, here we had an update announcement from Nethermind, who are now on version 1.21.1, and they say this is important. This hotfix released a recommended update for all network operators and addresses in the invalid block production issue initially reported on the Gnosis chain from October 19th to October 20th. So if you are running Nethermind, this is a recommended update for you to make sure that you get your systems back up to date and working properly. Okay, next we had this update from Lucas Kozak in trading. Luke is someone who I think has a sizable amount of RPL, and he is looking for people to buy RPL off if they want to sell it. So he says if anyone wants to get rid of the inflation rewards, at least $10,000, so that it makes sense, DM me. And of course, it's not just inflation rewards, it's people, anyone who wants to sell some RPL, whether you're a node operator who's leaving or whether you just have more than you think you should have. And if you want to sell some to Lucas, here you can reach out to Lucas and try to get all that sorted out. So Sneaky said that I wish I got $10,000 in inflation rewards. Yeah, don't we all? He says that, what do you use for the swap? And he says he uses AirSwap over the counter, and then that gives you a better rate for both parties. So you don't pay any fees on the trade. You also don't have any slippage on the trade. So it works out a little bit better for all parties involved. And it's actually like a really nice and straightforward process. So Lucas says DMs will be open for over-the-countable in the foreseeable future. For anyone wanting to unload, DM me. We can do no slippage, no fee, and trustless over-the-counter swap. So I said that I'll put this in Rocket Fuel today. So here I am putting it in Rocket Fuel today. Okay, next we've got some news coming out of the Lido community that we're going to end the episode up with. No, actually, we're not going to end the episode with this, but there's some like big drama brewing in the Lido community. So yesterday, Layer Zero Labs had this idea of putting Lido's wstETH on their bridge to Avalanche, BNB, and Scroll. So Avalanche and BNB are EVM chains, and Scroll is the new layer 2. So they said this implementation will provide users with seamless experience for bridging between these chains, including horizontal composability across layer 2s. This prevents the fragmentation of wstETH and grants full ownership of all relevant contracts to the Lido DAO. Upon receipt of support from Lido DAO, Layer 0 will transfer ownership of the wstETH contracts to the DAO. So basically they're saying that what we want to do is set up a better way of moving your wstETH across from Ethereum to BNB, Avalanche, and Scroll chains. And this is, we think this is a really good idea, and we want to set it all up for you, and then the Lido DAO can kind of take over it. So they give some information there, and they've got a full proposal basically. But then someone from Avalanche, I think, says thanks for bringing wstETH to Avalanche. And then other people are saying it's nice that people get the opportunity to stake from other layer 1s, but I'm strongly against using it for L2s like Scroll. The point of L2s is that we have a secure layer 1 to layer 2 bridge. If people start using mint burn bridges, then what's the point of that? And I get the point is unified liquidity, but in my opinion, it's not worth it. So this is where there's some like drama kind of started coming through, where people were saying, hey, this maybe isn't the right way of doing it. Mint burn bridges are a security risk, as we've seen like with the wormhole exploit and the Ronin bridge exploit, and they're honeypots that can be attacked and have been shown to have hundreds of millions of dollars in there that can be stolen quite easily. And this is something that you need to be really careful about. And then there's a lot of discussion kind of going back and forth, what the case for the native bridges, what the security issues are, and what kind of happened then is I think Layer 0 kind of jumped the gun, where they started advertising it as a wstETH being a token that's on their bridge. But he says, I'm confused that you're marketing it as it's official, but Lido hasn't voted on this yet. And the OFT standard is a mint and burn standard, which means there's some risk of an exploit leading to the unauthorized and potentially unlimited minting of wstETH. So what can happen is the contract can get exploited on on the other sides of the bridge. A person could mint tens of thousands of hundreds of thousands, millions of wstETH, and then tell mainnet, here I want to burn what I've got on the bridge side, and I want to reclaim it on the Ethereum side, which would then basically drain all the liquidity that they have. And it's a really, like, it's a very possible attack, because we've seen it happen many times. And then saying there are other mint and burn standards that could be considered. So people were already kind of giving pushback. But then Hasu here had a really interesting take. He said, honestly, I'm a bit speechless by what I'm witnessing here. All of the involved parties are burning quite a lot of goodwill in my eyes through what must be described as sketchy sales tactics by unilaterally deploying a bridge and marketing it in an official seeming way. It feels like you're trying to pressure the DAO into accepting a proposal to avoid liquidity fragmentation and bad UX for users. Driving users to it through marketing makes accepting an alternative bridge proposal more painful. These actions put the DAO, Lido stakers, and participating chains in a difficult position. Layer 0 solution might be the best one, but it should be evaluated at the DAO's pace and timeline according to agreed upon specifications, alongside other vendor proposals, and with ample time to evaluate the security. I don't think this proposal should go to snapshot in its current form, and if it does, I will vote against it and recommend others do the same. Again, might be the case that layer 0's bridge is the optimal one, especially for other layer 1s where trustless bridges are impossible, but this is not the way to run this process, and we should first do a public retro on what happened and then run it back properly. So Hasu, of course, is a very strong voice in the Lido community. So the drama really then spilled over to Twitter, where people were starting to say things like, here's Layer 0's tweet. Actually, that's a good place to start. So they have Lido Finance's wstETH is now an OFT available on BNB chain, Scroll, and Avalanche. And then if you have a look at the image on the screen, it's there's this fancy GIF that they made that says wstETH is now an OFT. Native wstETH can be now transferred seamlessly between BNB, Scroll, and Avalanche. So they're really proud of this. Basically, it's got hundreds of likes and hundreds of retweets and comments, but a lot of the comments are when airdrop and just garbage. But getting back to people commenting on this, they're saying that this is a bad precedent. I'm shocked by this move, completely front running Lido DAO's governance process and its network expansion team to deploy wstETH version to Scroll, BNB chain, and Avalanche. And then there was a lot more takes as well. Here, Layer 0 is marketing that wstETH is OFT before Lido DAO has voted on this. This is extremely dangerous. There are real security concerns that need to be properly debated. I posted some thoughts on the forum. So then there's that as well. So the risk here is that if wstETH gets exploited on this bridge, then it could make a big chunk of the LDO token not being backed properly, and it would really damage I presume the price in the short term at least. But Lido would get a big hit from this, even though it wouldn't necessarily be their fault. It would be Layer 0's bridge's fault. But it makes sense that they're kind of scared of this, and rightly so, I think, because it could cause them big problems. But people have been kind of calling Schadenfreude on this as well, and saying, hey, if Lido aren't responsible with the way that they're treating the Ethereum network, then we don't have to be responsible with their token and all this kind of stuff. There's some really bad takes out there, but in general, my idea is that this could be really harmful for Ethereum, and for that reason I think Layer 0 have made a big mistake, but they're acting in a reckless way that they don't need to be, just to get market mover advantage. They're taking shortcuts that could end up being dangerous for everyone. So yeah, take that as you want. And then finally, we are ending with this post that I made in the governance thread, and I really want to spend a few minutes talking about it in the episode today. So I said more of us need to help Val. So I've been reaching out to Val a little bit over the last couple of days to ask him questions about the upcoming governance votes, and that poor guy is swamped. He is overwhelmed with the amount of work that he's doing for Rocket Pool. He's tired. He's approaching burnout. And I'm sorry, Val, for sharing all this. I know you're not watching, but we really need to, as a community, step up and help Val with governance work. We can't have it be that Val is the only person who is spearheading so many of these different governance issues. I know that there are other people as well, and I totally I'm grateful for those other people as well, but it seems like a lot of the times it's just Val who's kind of like in the front and center of all of the different things that are going on. So what I'm doing now is I'm making like a plea or like a call to arms to the community, saying, hey, I need, like, we all need to step up, all of us, including myself. We all need to step up and help more in governance, and help more in like discussions, and help more in ideas, and help more in writing RPIP drafts, and helping more with all of that stuff. And the sooner we removed some burden from Val, the more Val will feel comfortable working for Rocket Pool, working to help all of us together, right? Like making Rocket Pool as good as possible. And I've given Val huge kudos on Rocket Fuel a whole bunch of times, and he's totally earned that, right, for the work that he's done. But I think, we're reaching the point where I think we as a community are taking Val for granted, and we just think, hey, like if no one else is going to do it, there's Val will do it. And that, first of all, is not right. I think there's a couple of things that, we need is, we need there to be better incentives in place for people to do governance work and PDAL work, and that might mean that people will say, hey, if I do this work, I can get paid for it, and that's I think that's okay. I think that this idea of there being a pure DAO where people just work voluntarily and spend hours and hours doing this stuff. Like, I'll give my own example, right? Like every week I spend like 2, 3, 4 or sometimes hours, if not more, doing GMC work, right? And like there's no payment for that, and we really struggle to attract people to volunteer on the new GMC. We got, I think, 11 people for 9 spots. And that's not good enough, like ideally we would have had like 20 people volunteering for 9 spots. And the same thing is happening with Val, where, we need other people pushing ideas, writing RPIPs, like really engaging in governance work. And we're not helping them the way that they need to be helped. Just like I just said, like, Long for Wisdom is writing ideas about some structural information and clarity, and they're not getting any feedback. And we as a community, I think, we need to all kind of step up and really help these other people, or either help people who are doing the work or start doing the work ourselves as well, to really work together to get Rocket Pool working. When I was talking to Val, I was saying to him about how Rocket Fuel, this show, wouldn't have been possible if it wasn't for the whole of the community kind of coming together, and 30, 40, 50 people a month helping me get the episodes ready and getting them out. And if it wasn't for you guys, we wouldn't have Rocket Fuel. It's reaching that point where if we don't have people stepping up and helping Val, we won't have Val anymore. And Val is extremely valuable to the Rocket Pool community, and I think we need to do what we can to help Val and others as well, of course, in the governance process. And we all have huge financial incentives to make sure that everything is going well, and we need to work on that as well as possible. So I know that was kind of ranty, but I guess what I'm saying is, let's all help Val, and let's all work together to make Rocket Pool the best protocol that it can be. Because hey, we're just getting a taste now of what a bull market might look like. We all need to work together to set the foundations, so as we're moving forward in the next year or two, that we can reap the rewards of the work that we do now. That's through more decentralization coming to Ethereum, through people joining Rocket Pool, and of course more money to us with RPL token appreciation. So let's all of us step up and do something. And I think I'm going to introduce my what work did you do feature that I used to have a few months ago. Like once a week I'll get people to put submissions, and then I'll give shout outs to people for the work they're doing, and maybe we can set up some financial incentives as well, some small financial incentives for work done as well. But anyway, on that note, I'm going to say thank you all for watching, listening, and being part of the Rocket Fuel community, and I'll see you all tomorrow. Bye.